Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Kim Bind and today we are going to have some tea. Okay, some of you might have known me from my Twitch channel where I drink my teas on a Sunday on 4 p.m. UTC+1 Dutch time. And I always upload my VODs, but they are kind of on the long side. So I was wondering, you know what, maybe I just make a smaller video and also a good moment to enjoy the tea again. So what are we going to drink? We are going to drink one of my favorites, which is a Laoshu Gongmei white tea from 2018. It has a bit of a sour note, which I really like. And yeah, just let's go for this one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to warm up all the things that I'm going to use, all my vessels. I'm going to use a Gaiwan, I have a Gongdao Bei and 1 cup. I'm also going to use a filter because I noticed last time that it had quite some debris, and I have my little tea pad also on the table. And not to forget the tea itself. So let's get you closer up. We are starting with making a little bit of ghost tea. That's how I like to call it. And I just noticed that I forgot my other water, but that's okay. I'll take it later. I'm using 85 degrees water at the moment, 85 degrees Celsius. I'm just going to leave the lid on so it can steam a little longer. There we go. So we got our vessels warmed up and we have our beautiful Laoshu Gongmei white tea from 2018. I'm going to touch it because I'm drinking it all by myself. It comes as a cake. This one is from Chamoods. So what I would like to do is I'm gonna place the tea in the warmed up Gaiwan, and this way I can get the fragrance out. Like I said, it's a bit of a cake. So give it a bit of a shake. It even has a bit of a chocolate note to it. Just very faintly, but mostly there's a bit of a sour note. Also honey. Oh. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick rinse and give that to my tea pad. I think it's only just a few seconds, so to wake up the tea a little bit. And there we go, fella. And we are ready to make our first cup. But first, I'm just gonna quickly smell one more time. Oh, definitely. When it's wet, it gets a bit of a different smell. But I think the sour note is really popping up at the moment. So let's make our first cup, shall we? Placing my filter on my Gongdao Bei. And here we have our beautiful first infusion. So what we're going to do now is smell the tea leaves. Definitely the first thing that pops up is this sour note. I think like a sour kind of fruit, plum. But there's also honey popping in. So let's see what we taste. And the first infusion is always kind of light to me, so I do have this, I'd say honey type. There's a sweetness of honey in there. There's a little sour note popping up. It doesn't feel strong in the mouth. There's no strong mouth feel. Very good. I look forward to a second brewing, so let's go for a second brewing. White tea, it's always important that you get all of the drops out. So that's why I'm using it both ways. Oh, the sour note is popping up more. Oh, it smells so good. And let's have a check on the color. I always like that there are little tea floaters in there. Like, I would call it tea dust. And I always love how it looks. And it's not the debris that is like little tea leaves, but it's little specks of dust in there. And really, my glass is clean, don't worry about it. Definitely. With the second brewing, the sour notes pops up more. It really feels very fresh. Not like minty, but just like fresh. And it doesn't feel heavy at all. In the meantime, we are also going to make our third brewing. Oh, it definitely now hits with the plum smell. I can put honey on plum. It also kind of reminds me of hay. Then let's try. Really, this tea gets better by every cup that you drink. We are going over for our fourth infusion. Really, you can do this as quick and as slow as possible, but I would recommend to do this as slow as possible. And it's a beautiful tea to actually use or to drink when you're reading a book or doing a puzzle, or maybe when you are painting actually. Anything that you can do in between, because it does have this good feeling. Right now I do have a bit of an aftertaste in my mouth, so that's perfect when you're doing things in between, so you can enjoy a little extra of the tea aftertaste. Sometimes I smell the cups or things in between because there's always, most of the teas that I've been drinking have such an amazing smell. Ooh, that's a beautiful color. Ooh, wow, the moment I took the lid off, there was just an explosion of smell. Still beautiful little floaters in there. Also a very beautiful color. Definitely has this bit of a sour note. So this is why it's important, why I don't wear lipstick anymore or anything that has, you know, that my lips touch the cup, is if I have a fragrance on my lips, then I would not be able to really smell the tea correctly. So when you do this, don't use your lipstick or have your, I don't know, strawberry chapsticks, don't use it. Oh, so good. It really smells so different from my Gongmei. In my glass Gongmei, I can really smell more of the fruitiness, like more of honey and fruits. Like, I think more of the honey. It's extremely sweet when smelling it from my Gongmei. Well, I'm smelling it from the leaves itself. It really also has a different smell. I like it from this one. I think this little fellow is just bathing in the tea. He's so cute. I have a little mountain here in my Gongmei, and it's really lovely with different tea colors every time. We are going for our 6th infusion. I really like how many infusions you can get from a tea, especially when you brew it Kung Fu Cha style, which means in a small vessel with a lot of tea and just a little bit of water. And very small, like brewing is more like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, sometimes even 15 seconds. So that's very cool to do it this way. But the later you get in your steepings, the longer you have to brew it. And in this case, we are going for the 6th infusion, which is going to be 1 minute and 20 seconds. But it also depends on what you like. I mean, if you like it a little bit more on the lighter side, you don't have to brew it that way, of course. I mean, if you like it more on the lighter side, you can go for less seconds or go back to the steeping that you used before. There are so many ways of doing it that it's actually almost overwhelming. That's why I like to do these things on the stream and just experiment with what are they telling me how to brew it, and then finding out like, oh, that was a bit too much for my liking, and that way I can, if I have more than a sample package, this way I can try afterwards like, okay, I didn't like that steeping. Maybe what if I brew it a little bit different? Would it be to my liking? And if the answer is yes, then you made a good tea. I do recommend not to use any sugar or milk with these kind of teas, and explore the beautiful teas that Asia has. I mean, there are so beautiful, lovely teas out there, and they all have their own beauty, their own flavor profile. And some teas are actually naturally sweet, and you do not need to use any sugar. Who am I to say that you shouldn't use it? But I'd say I give it a go without anything else. And of course, I need to give a little bit more space so that the water can come out. But yeah, I would say give this kind of teas a try on their own, without any sugar, without any milk, without anything added to it. And I think it's even a cooler idea to try them and have a side dish to see what goes very well. I myself just like to drink tea as it is, but I do like a very good milk tea. But in this case, when I'm drinking these kind of teas, for me it's really interesting to see all these different profiles of flavor that you can get. Like we have something that has a bit of a sour note. There is also something sweet to it. There's also like a hay kind of flavor to it. And there are also teas that have this more like a vegetable kind of flavor, like when you're drinking a green tea. It can go a little bit more to the spinach kind of taste, but it can also go a little bit more to the hay type. Hay can be very sweet actually. And then you also have tastes that are very grounding, very earthy, that has a almost, when you taste them, it really grounds you down. Let's see, how would I explain that kind of a taste? I would like to say a little bit like mushroomy-ish. So that's why I say experiment with these kind of teas, like see what you like. And this way you can find out which tea type you really enjoy a lot. I definitely like a good white tea. But I am a bit more of an oolong type, because oolong really has a huge range of flavors. Huge range of flavors. But we get into that on a different time. I'm going to set it a little bit higher, like 90 degrees. I think you can actually go for a lot more sessions on this one. For what I feel right now, it still has a very good flavor in the mouth. Still a little bit of the sour note is really still kicking in. Like not so much, but it's still there. And what you could do is, like, I'm brewing a little bit more hot water, see if anything happens, because we're also going to brew a little bit longer. And I'm gonna put this one on 100, because I think after this one I'm going to stop tea drinking. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but and we still have some little floaters in there. I think this 90 was actually pretty well. I think I still would like to say 85 would be my preference. So that was it for today, and I had one lovely session of this Laoshu Gongmei from 2018. If you want to watch the whole thing, my whole VOD for my first time tasting, go to my Kimbind extended channel. There's the VOD up and running. I can post a link down in the description box. Also, what's also a fun video to watch is the Laoshu Gongmei 2018 and 2020 tasting next to each other. It's the same tea, but there's only a 2-year difference in them, and yes, it does taste different. So also a fun one, also going to link it in the description box. For now, thank you so much for watching and hopefully see you next time. Bye bye!